Kisturi. This city. Yeah, I think they're doing some renovation work.
Yeah, renovation work. Yeah, some bricks there. But it's quite a big space.
Yes, very nice space.
So this is now Jalan Kisturi, and it's now famous for, at the end, beside the central market of Pasar Seni, there's the Kisturi Walk, which for many years, of course with COVID-19, it's a bit down, but it has been a popular part of central market, part of the attraction of central market. And on the right hand side, you can now see the old shop houses, which were part of, which are an annex. These old shop houses.
Oh, yeah?
They are the Central Market Annex.
Oh, right.
So the blue building there, that's the original Central Market. Of course, it has been adaptively reused into more of an arts market rather than a wet market. And
so previously it was a wet market?
Very much so. It was a wet market. So let's actually cross the road now.
Okay,
here,
sure.
And we will go to the Artist's Lane.
Oh, okay.
This is the Artist's Lane.
Oh, okay.
Which is in between the Central Market proper and Central Market Annex. This is where you find. Careful. This is where you find all the artists who actually do portraiture. Look at this one here. This artist specializes in kampung scenes, but with a nice colorful twist. So these are real, kampung houses, and yet all done in quite psychedelic colors. You have blue trees and all that. But very popular. So this is his style.
Wow, that portrait is so realistic.
Yes, they're very good. And anyone can just leave your photograph, your family photo and so on, and they will do the portraits for you in whatever costume that you want. The important thing is just your face.
Wow, that is very realistic.
Yeah, it's very good. So yes, I'm sure he's done a lot of official paintings, and so lots of different styles. Some do caricatures. You see, like this gentleman is beautifully doing a family there.
Okay.
So it's really a real artist's lane. And this is Jamal Tommy, but I don't think he's here at the moment.
Oh, this is a friend you're talking about.
This is my friend, Jamal Tommy. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So again, you see, he does very good portraiture. He does watercolors and oil paintings, sceneries. They're all very versatile. Actually, they're very good, very versatile. And if we want to go into the central market, then of course we'll have to do the scanning and the temperature reading.
Sure, that's fine.
Okay, let's do so. So here we just need to scan.
Okay. Hi. Sorry.
Oh,
no camera.
For inside, kami orang Malaysia. Kami dari university. Dan kami buat rakaman. This is the Central Market Annex, whereas on this side is the Central Market proper from 1888. But I have to mention that this building itself is not from 1888. The market was from 1888.
Oh, right.
The building is from 1924. Okay. And then, so in 1924, it was a full wet market until about the mid-1980s, when they found that the wet market was no longer right for this location, and so it was adaptively reused.
Right.
And in fact, at that time, there was even talk of demolishing the whole central market. So luckily, so many people objected to the demolition, and the government also stepped in to prevent its demolition. In fact, it was adaptively reused into an arts market, as it is today, where it sells crafts, souvenirs, and a lot of other things as well. So today it's a very, very popular tourist destination. Now, what you see inside is, of course, quite different from the original market. They have added so many shops, I believe about 200 individual shop lots. At that time, around the 1980s, when it was adaptively reused, it actually won an award for adaptive reuse.
I see.
But times have changed, and the way that it is done would not quite be accepted today as a good conservation adaptive reuse. Because, of course, at that time it was fine, they added so much new spaces. Whereas today, the philosophy has changed, and you're not, if you want to call yourself a conservation adaptive reuse, you have to maintain the space as much as possible. You have to maintain everything as much as possible, which means you cannot add new floors. If you do, you need to really justify, and it has to be minimal. Whereas there's so much change done here, which was good for its time, and it made it sustainable. But as I said, the philosophy of conservation has changed. So you could still do this, but then it would not have won a conservation adaptive reuse award.
So this is a unique conservation policy applicable to Malaysia only?
Oh, no. This is quite international. Actually.
Quite international.
In fact, like most developing countries, we are actually reactive in the sense that we are not at the forefront. That kind of thinking of now emphasizing on authenticity usually comes from the West. West and Japan. And we sort of follow. In fact, the government is by now quite solid in understanding and promoting conservation, but a lot of building owners still don't quite understand about conservation. And truth be told, there are many who just prefer to demolish their old building, build a huge new one, and have much more square footage and sell for much more money. Unfortunately, that some developers are still like that, but it's nice to see that there is a growing number of Malaysians of all levels, building owners right down to even stall owners, who are beginning to see from tourism, because tourism is the one that is pushing for authenticity. Without tourists, you wouldn't realize it. But we see that many tourists, when they come, they don't want to see the new malls. They're not interested in the new malls. They want something like this.
They don't want to see selling Bangkok stuff.
They don't want
you
to
want
see...
Bangkok stuff, go Bangkok.
And if you're talking about modern malls, they probably have better malls where they are from. So they want to see something like Central Market, like the old shop houses, where there's character, where there's heritage. So this is the important thing about conservation. Development, and it's basically a covered walkway with stalls below. There you are. And
what is Kisturi?
Okay, Kisturi, in terms of language, it's a type of lime. It's a type of lime, but it's also a name. And it so happens that one of the companions of Hang Tuah, his name was Hang Kisturi.
Oh, is it? Okay.
So Hang Kisturi was one of those companions of Hang Tuah from historic Malacca. And so this road is named after him, Jalan Hang Kisturi. So again, I don't think we are allowed to go in because this is part of Central Market. If we want to...
I don't think we need to go in.
We want to record. So what we'll do is we'll walk by the sidewalk. But just before that, let me just point out this building, which is it's a very lovely hotel, City Hotel. And I actually stayed here once when we had a project where we had to wake up very early, so the client actually gave us a room here so that we don't have to go through the traffic jam at the time. And now it's actually a new building. It's not one of the old shop houses, but it tries to mimic the old style, but as a trained architect you can tell that actually it's not. So it tries to imitate the same style as the others. So for the typical tourist, or even for the typical Malaysian, you pass by and you think, oh, this is colonial, but actually it's not. It's not. Yeah.
It's mimic.
Yeah, it's a mimic. Okay, so let's walk through the sidewalk.
Okay.
It's interesting. The sidewalk, kaki lima. If you actually do a measurement of all the kaki lima or 5-foot ways in throughout Malaysia, even though it's saying 5 foot, but none of them are actually correctly 5 feet. None of them, okay? Because actually it does not reflect the measurement of 5 feet. It actually, from the name kaki lima, it's actually where in the olden days when they started to have these kind of corridors in front of shops, if you have 2 people walking by, like the 2 of us are now, okay, and you have a 3rd person passing by, okay, in some of the smaller ones, this is the newer one, so this is a bit wider, okay, we're heading to the smaller one now, the original type, okay, now, you'll notice that if 2 people pass by and you have a 3rd person who is from the opposite direction or from behind us wants to overtake us, they will actually have to quickly go around us, and one of their feet will be outside the actual corridor. So that's where you have 5 feet.
Oh,
yeah.
2, 3 person.
Yes, 3 persons with one of them having to quickly put 1 foot outside.
Right.
It's quite a funny designation, but that was how it originally came about. And that explains why actually it's not 5 feet as in a measurement.
But you know what? In Johor, the shop houses built during my father's time is literally 5 feet.
Okay, some of them, yes.
Yeah, I think they took it literally.
They took it literally.
Yes.
Okay, now let's come out a little bit here.
Yes.
And we see the front, okay, the front of the central market. I think we go this way in between the stalls here. Okay. In the meantime, you see that's the wow of the Kisturi walk. Okay, and here we are at the front.
Since 1888.
Yes. Now, again,
nice.
this is a little bit misleading because 1888 is the establishment of the market, but not the building.
Not the building, okay.
There was an earlier building, which was when the market was begun in 1888.
I see.
But this building was begun from about 1924 and fully utilized 1926.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is the Art Deco building, and again you can see the flagpole.
Yes.
And it's very simple, but it has a beauty of its own in its simplicity. And if you go a little bit further in front, you can see the stylized writing, CM. If you see on the left, that's C, and then there's a stylized M.
Okay.
It's almost like a C, but on its side.
Okay.
But with a little tick at the top, you can see that actually it's an M. So it's
nice.
Very stylized. And then, if you look at the entrance, which actually is reflected on the other side, you can just about make out, if it's pointed to you, there is a K and L at the top there.
Yes,
see?
KL, yes, saw that, yes.
So there you go. And this is actually reflected on the other side. It's just that because the other side is very closed off with all the other happenings, then you don't really see the whole doorway in its entirety, in all its glory. But actually, it's pretty much repetition on the other side. Yeah?
Okay. Okay.
And in 2 years' time, this PNB 116 will be newest landmark of KL.
Right. Okay.
So you see the shop houses, okay, you have pretty much the classical style, and then suddenly in the middle, there's this quite
very modern.
Yeah, very modern.
Yeah.
Which is sort of disruptive.
So they're all built at different time.
Yes, they were built some years apart.
Waalaikumsalam dan selamat bertugas buat ujian. Terima kasih semua kepada para pendengar setia KLFM yang sempat saya bacakan ni kan. InsyaAllah kita sini kita akan bacakan lagi kiriman yang lain juga. Okey, harap semoga anda.
Okay, in case we have foreign friends that watch this is how Malaysia do it. Okay, we have this. My sejahtera. And then we scan so that they can track us. And then we have to take our temperature.
Okay, 36.3.
36.8. Okay, that's how we do it. Okay. Sure. Hey, maybe we should have lunch. Yeah, let's have lunch.
I kind of thought it was like 11 something.